Surprise, Sydney. It's an honor. What's your favorite scary movie?
Don't know how Ghostface does this. It's way too fucking hot with this mask on. Oh, fuck off. Scream is the latest entry in the Scream series. Basically, it's Scream 5. This is the 5th movie in the Scream series that is now being released 11 years after the release of Scream 4, which was released 11 years after Scream 3. So the original trilogy ended 22 years ago, and they've now released one every 11 years since the original trilogy ended. So I guess we can expect the new one in 2033. It is directed by the same team who did Ready or Not, a really fun horror movie. If you want a really fun, just campy horror film, I recommend watching Ready or Not, and it once again features Neve Campbell, David Arquette, Courtney Cox, but also featuring the likes of Jack Quaid, Dylan Minnette, Jenna Ortega, Melissa Pereira, and Mikey Madison. 25 years after a streak of brutal murders shocked the quiet town of Woodsboro, a new killer dons the Ghostface mask and begins targeting a group of teenagers to resurrect secrets from the town's deadly past. Now guys, before I give you my review of Scream 5, I'm just gonna call it that, it's easier. I want to see what you guys have to say down in the comment section below. Have you seen it yet? Have you not? Are you looking forward to it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Or are you somewhere around the middle? Please comment down below and let me know. I'm really excited to talk about this movie with all of you. I'm also really excited for all of you to see this, as Scream is a big IP. We've only got 5 movies, but it's one of the most popular horror franchises out there, especially when it comes to our Halloween viewings and watching horror movies with friends. Scream 5 acts as the 5th entry in the series, as I said, and one thing I really loved about this movie in particular was once again the meta commentary. This movie does a lot of meta commentary, bringing in Rian Johnson, also bringing in a lot more, common horror movies of the modern day like Hereditary, It Follows, The Babadook, and it's just a fun movie because the way that it does the meta commentary talks about, like, in a way, requels. It's a sequel that's also a reboot that has to be connected by having the OGs in there as well to sort of bring in money and everything. Or, you know what, I'm still trying to wrap my head around the entire meta commentary in this movie, but for the most part, while it's incredibly on the nose, a little bit too much at times, it works really, really well. In the end, one thing I've got to say about Scream 5 though, straight off the bat besides the meta commentary, is the fact that this is probably my No, it's not my favorite since the original. I'd say that this is like the mid-tier of the Scream movies. I think it's better than 2 and 3, but I don't think it's as good as 1 and 4. 1 and 4 being my favorites in particular, and 2, while I really enjoy it, does have a lot of issues, and 3 is... We don't do that here. But Scream 5 is a really solid entry, and I think the creative team behind Ready or Not, the 2 directors, that is, I can't remember their names. It's right here on my screen. What are they again? Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett, or Gillett. What? I think they do a really good job directing this movie, especially when it comes to certain nods at the original films in regards to basically recreating certain sequences at times, especially the final shot. I'm not going to say anything, but the final shot is basically a direct recreation of one of the final shots of one of the previous 4 Scream movies. I think that they do a really good job of replicating the tone, the horrors, and just everything about the previous 4 entries that Wes Craven did so well. Unfortunately, he isn't with us, and, may he rest in peace. But I think that these directors have done a brilliant job of, honoring not just Wes Craven's legacy, but taking the mantle for his baby. This is his franchise, aside from A Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, I know he's done many other movies in the past, including The Hills Have Eyes, but let's be honest, Scream and A Nightmare on Elm Street are his babies, and, these 2 directors do such a brilliant fucking job, and the Ensemble Cast as well do a really good job as well. I will say this right now, Neve Campbell and Courtney Cox in particular kind of take a step back in this. Dewey, played by David Arquette, is once again amazing, and I need to mention that straight off the bat, because he is fucking fantastic in all of these movies, and he kind of gets a bad rap. This guy gets beaten around a lot, but in this movie, he kind of takes a step up to the table, and does quite a bit. He's in the movie for a good chunk, and he does a really good job in it, but for the most part, he's the only OG of the 3 that is in the forefront for a large portion of the movie. This movie does the wise decision to not rely too heavily on nostalgia while bringing up references with its meta commentary with the original films, especially because if you've seen the Scream movies, you know about the Stab movies. They're back. Yay! But I think they do a really good job with the meta commentary, referencing with visual cues, or even just direct lines referencing the original fucking movie. Ow! the original movies. I think they do a really good job with this. I think that the new ensemble cast, such as Melissa Pereira, Jenna Ortega, Jack Quaid, Dylan Minnette, Macy Gooding, Mikey Madison, they all do a really good job. Although I do have to question the fact of how these guys are friends. The moment that the killings start happening and they start hearing about it, they start, being reassured of, oh, there's another kill on the loose. You guys are being targeted. Yes, I understand that. As Randy would say, everyone's a suspect. But they start suspecting each other and pointing fingers immediately. And I don't know how any of them can suspect each other this easily when they're meant to be friends. Like, this is the inner circle of their friendship group. And I don't understand how they can blatantly, flat out just be like, you've got to be the killer, you've got to be the killer. Although it's played into the commentary, this is where it becomes a little bit too on the nose. The other 4 films, well, not Scream 3 because that was just fucking random when the killer was revealed. In this, it does it in a way that it feels too in the forefront and too on the nose, where the previous films, Scream 1, 2, and 4, had a nice balance, and it really worked. They knew how to balance the pointing of the fingers, everyone being a suspect, for you to have the guessing game. But in this case, they pointed the fingers to everyone, and I found it incredibly easy to pick out who the killer was. Literally in the first 20 minutes, I was like, oh, they've got to be the killer. And sure enough, when it was revealed, yeah, they're the killer. Not spoiling anything, of course, this is a spoiler-free review, but although I like the reveal, the motivation makes no fucking sense. Like, when I was listening to the killer giving their motivation and everything, I'm sitting here going, really? No, that's fucking lazy. I feel that the motivation for the killer this time, while it sort of makes sense in the grand scheme of things, just felt like a lazy reason to bring back the OGs, to target these characters in the movie that do end up being our helpless victims, and also just to warrant their actions for a motive in general, because they've got to have a motive. It's not nearly as stupid as the whole Maureen Prescott sort of, abandoned son bullshit from Scream 3, but it still feels a little far-fetched. But here's one thing I haven't mentioned about the film yet. The Ghostface murdering spree. Holy shit. While it's not as violent as Scream 4, it's more brutal. Like, Ghostface in this movie is fucking savage. Yes, he's the still bumbling buffoon who can be beaten up, who can be, held off against. He's no Michael Myers, he's no Freddy Krueger, he's no Jason Voorhees, who's just an unstoppable, relentless force. They still keep that really layered balance when it comes to Ghostface in this movie, where it feels like this could be a real killer in the real world, which is what makes him so scary, which is what makes Ghostface so scary in the first place. But the brutality of the kills, it's not even the fact that they're overly gory. Yes, there is a couple kills in this movie where I was like, oh, okay, this is just torture at this point. But in the end, it never reaches that level where it feels unrealistic. It does keep that level there where it does feel real, grounded down to earth. But at the same time, the savagery of this killer. The killer in this movie as Ghostface, the stabbings, the killings in general, the brutality around it is just savage. The way the killer goes about it isn't just one stab and done or 2 stabs and done. No, it's just shanking the fuck out of it like it's a predator doing the hunt. There is a lot of unpredictability in this movie as well that I really appreciate it. And they went somewhere where I'm like, oh fuck, they did that. This is a hard movie not to spoil and talk about, by the way, because a lot of my issues have to do with a lot of spoilers, and a lot of my positives have to do with spoilers too, but I obviously can't get into them until the movie's released worldwide this Friday. Like, I know it's out to, tomorrow in Australia and everything, but, I want to be respectful of all you Scream fans out there. But I've got to say, I had a really good time with Scream 5. Like, there are issues I have here and there. There's some pacing issues. It definitely is noticed when Neve Campbell and Courtney Cox aren't on screen in particular, because unlike David Arquette, they take a major seat back in this movie. Like, they don't appear really until the later half of the movie, and their absence is really felt. Like, I know that, Sydney kind of had a sort of absence in Scream 4. She's not as prominent. It does still focus on the new group more than Sydney, Courtney Cox as Gail, and, Dewey. But I think that they took a little bit too much of a step back here. Like, I was kind of missing Neve Campbell at a point, but I think the new ensemble cast does a really good job for the most part too. I think that their camaraderie, there's a really good relationship between Melissa Pereira and Jack Quaid that I thought was really sweet, really pure. I felt like they were a real couple as well, and it was really, really lovely to see. I think that this movie does a really good job of taking the mantle for the Scream series and bringing it to a whole new level that is more savage, it's more unpredictable, while being more predictable at times. times. It's more meta, it's more on the nose, it's brutal as fuck, and, you know, it was a fun movie. There's also some shit where I'm like, oh, so that's what your character is. Okay, there's some sort of vision shit in this movie where I didn't feel like it was... like there's some hallucination shit with a particular character in this movie that I thought was a little weird, and I'm like, you're bordering on, you know, Maureen Prescott, Scream 3 territory right now, but it doesn't quite reach that. It doesn't go as far as I'd like it to go, but it doesn't break it either where it becomes stupid. It is confined enough. Let me put it this way, the sort of hallucination shit is kind of what I wish they would do more with the PTSD and, you know, the Resident Evil games, as they hinted at with Jill's character in Resident Evil 3 Remake. But I did it twice. In this, it actually feels like it warrants something, and it has some interesting stuff provided. I think that Scream 5 is a really fun Scream movie. It's not, you know, the best since the original. I think that title goes to Scream 4, but I think it's better than 2 and 3. I think it's a very entertaining movie. I really, really enjoyed Scream 5. I think that this is a fun movie that I can't wait to see again. And I hope you guys are enjoying it. I'm sorry my review's a little vague, by the way, because I want you guys to go see this movie, you know, with the full experience of not expecting anything. I know I say that the killer's predictable and I predicted it in the first 20 minutes. I don't know if you guys will. I obviously don't. I hope you guys are more surprised than I was. But I had a really, really fun time with this movie. I think a lot of Scream fans are going to be very satisfied. I think they're going to have a great time. I hope all of you guys see this movie and support it. I know that it's meant to hit streaming in about a month or two as well, on Paramount Plus, which is when I'll be doing my sister's reaction to Scream 5 as well, because she's a massive Scream fan. She's seen the first 4, obviously, but she's not old enough to see it in theaters. So we're going to react to it on the channel when it comes out in streaming, guys. Just wait. I'm really excited to provide that video. But in the meantime, you know, I'm going to give Scream 5 a B+. I think this is a really good Scream movie. I rewatched the 4 previous ones before this, literally, you know, over the last couple days, and I enjoy 3 of the previous ones. I don't like Scream 3, but they're 4 for 5 at the moment. I think they've done a really good job with this movie, and I have to really credit it. And there's something really sweet just before the end credits start with for Wes Craven that I thought was really nice. Seriously, guys, I think a lot of Scream fans are going to be satisfied with this one. But guys, have you seen it yet? Have you not? What did you think about it? I want to see what you guys have to say down in the comment section below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Or are you somewhere around the middle? Comment down below. Let me know. Look out for more reviews and movie reactions coming very, very soon. My sister's reaction to The Human Centipede will be up this weekend, as well as possibly a spoiler review and series ranking for Scream, like a spoiler review for Scream 5, and then a series ranking of all 5 Scream movies coming this weekend. I'm very excited to provide those ones to you guys. Look out for my How to Beat Saw 3D coming next Tuesday as well, and my reaction to The Collector. And when this movie hits streaming, I'll have my sister's reaction to Scream 5 as well, because as I said, she's seen Scream 1 through 4, so I obviously can't do the reactions with her, but, you know, I'm excited for her to watch Scream 5. I'm very intrigued to see what she has to say when it gets released and we get to watch it together for you guys. I'm really excited. But guys, thank you so much for watching. I do hope you enjoy Scream 5 when you get to see it, as it's released this weekend. Make sure you're safe though, because with Omicron at the moment, you know, cases are rising in, you know, Queensland right now. Cases are fucking stupid. Oh, they're through the roof. And I just recommend that when you go to a theater to see this movie, please wear a face mask. Please be safe. Yeah, we don't want anything unfortunate happening with the whole world pandemic we're still experiencing going wrong. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. As I said, make sure to look out for more content coming very, very soon. I hope you enjoy the movie, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.